All right. So getting toward the end of the day, you guys have been through most of the workshops. What do you have left? Nutrition and fitting. Those are the two fun ones. This one may be not the most fun topic, but we'll try to make it fun. So my name's Abe Light. I worked for quite a number of years as a cattle fitter. You guys know what fitters are?
Yeah, I am one.
You are one. Atta boy. I've had worked on a couple of large dairies for a number of years. I lived in Idaho. Worked for a bull stud ABS out there. Worked with a lot of big commercial dairies, and never really got over the itch to show cows or be around cows. Even though it's a lot of hard work, it's something that I've enjoyed since I was about some of your ages and got into, and glad to be back here to do it. And it's always a good opportunity when you have some younger people to be able to share a little bit of what you've learned over the years. So the housing topic in general, we're going to talk more about housing your animal at a show, not so much at home. You guys probably all know how you're going to house your cattle at home, but when you get to a show, you know, we're going to need places to do a couple things. We're going to need a place for our calf to live, right? Yep. Or our calves. We're going to say we're taking calves here. What else are you going to need room for?
Storage.
All of your supplies. Shout it out. Yeah. Yep. All that stuff. So most of the shows you go to, they're going to tell you where to go, but sometimes if you have room to go, I think the first thing that I like to look at when I go, and most people will tell you, is where's the best air in the barn? Is the best air in the barn in the corners? No, probably not. So we probably wouldn't have picked this spot if we're going to go to the show. This probably isn't where we're going to tie, but we're here and we're going to use this for the example because this is the space we have. So we know we're going to need floor space, we're going to need electricity, we're going to need water. So luckily we've got all three of those things right here in this area. So let's say we've got 20 feet because we're bringing our 3 calves. We're bringing our 3 December calves to the show. This is our 20 feet right here. Maybe that's 24 feet, I'm not sure, but what are you going to do? Where are you going to put your calves, and where are you going to put your tack, and where are you going to clip? Go ahead. You're going to put the cows there. Okay. And clip over there. Okay. How about anybody else? Would anybody do that different? I think I saw your hand first. Go ahead. Okay. Why are we going to put the calves here instead of over here? You only need one reason if it's the right one. Go ahead.
Well, because there's more space.
Yeah, sure. So this was I only brought one end board. I could have brought the second one, but I'm getting old and I'm out of shape, and I got really tired after I brought the first one over, so we just have one. But if you were going to set up here, you would put your calves here if you have your end boards, and you would use this space to clip and to maybe put some of your bags of grain. If you have that space back there, obviously utilize that as much as you can. Like you said about the air, somebody said about the air quality. Yep. So I'm not saying you can't hang your fan in this corner. I'm not saying that's wrong to do. Calves living here all year long, and there's a fan that hangs right off that, and that's fine. Just for the sake of being at the show, it's kind of cloudy out now, and the sun's not hitting that side of the building, but these tin walls can get pretty hot, so you don't want to pull that hot air down on them, and you want room for the fan to be able to draw some air in. So when you get to the show, you want to have your plan, right? We know we've got our 3 calves, you know what we've got to have, so we've got that part of it laid out. Things we brought to the show with us. Sometimes we bring a water line. If we have milk cows, we don't put up water bowls for our calves though. So we've got our fans, and we got our inboards, and we may or may not use our edge board at the back of our pack. But when you get to the show, get anything that needs to get set up, your headboards, end boards, anything that's going to require construction, screws, tape, whatever. whatever your medium of assembly is. Get that stuff done first. You can work on shaking your straw, but get your plan out and get everything organized, because when it's 90 degrees, like, it's no fun to make the pack, right? It's even less fun to have to make it twice because you put it in the wrong spot. So plan ahead, have a good idea where everything's gonna go. Show equipment, like, what are you gonna bring to the show? You guys went through the show box stuff, all of that. You should always be bringing a fan to the shows in the summer. Some sort of fan. If you look behind you over there, those boxes, those are fans. Now they're pretty big fans. How many of you could pick those up by yourself? I'm sure you could. Maybe the rest of us all can't pick those up by ourselves. And if you see that table over there, those two fans in that table make up what we use for a big source of air movement down over the cows. But for more practical reasons, and if you're only bringing a couple calves, we probably don't need 2 big box fans and 3 people to move all the stuff. So we would maybe bring a fan that looked a little more like this. Sometimes you might, whatever kind of fan you have is probably okay. It's probably great. But if anybody's looking to buy fans or wants to go buy a fan or spend a little money on their show equipment, these are, you don't find fans that are much better than this style of fan. I mean, there's different brands, whatever, but these basket fans that are easy to carry around and hang, they're good, they're durable, take good care of them, they last a long time. This is a pretty popular way of hanging fans or mounting fans. These brackets are pretty adjustable. You can mount them, you can mount them straight onto wood, or you can mount them on a gate with baler twine and zip ties, anything like that. So pretty multiple ways to make those work in whatever kind of barn you might be in at the time. So I guess while we're still on setup, these, you guys have all seen people use these at the shows, these kind of end boards. We're not going to go through any assembly. We just brought one out to show you about the proper size of the board to use. This is a 2x8. It's high enough to hold the bedding in and serve the purpose, and it's not so high that the cows are tripping over it. You're going to be tripping over it all day. So, plus if you put those extra couple inches of wood on there, it just makes it heavier to load and unload. Is that or you're just yawning? So the actual making of the pack, it's not a real cut and dry right or wrong way. When I started showing cows, I worked for people who were very particular about what was getting done and how it was going to get done, as far as how much straw you're going to use, how much shavings you're going to use, and importantly, how it's going to look in the end when it's all done. So there's quite a bit of shavings mixed into the straw here already, because we've been reusing it, but we won't do a whole pack. We'll just do a section against the wall here. So is that good? Is that ready? Can I put the calves in there now? No? Why not? It's too high. What, should I take straw out? Spread it around? Pack it down? I should pack it down. Why would I pack it down? To make it tight. Okay. The whole way? Is it getting better? So if you find any sticks or corn stalks in your pack, get rid of that stuff. Is it getting there? That's not too bad? This is only my second time I've ever done it. Okay, so I just leave it like that?
Maybe sprinkle
Some more shavings? Maybe a little more straw on top of that too, you think? I'll spread the shavings out now? Okay. That's good. Okay, so we're gonna use our imaginations a little bit and say the pack board's in, everything's good. Put a little more straw on top of my pack. Okay, can I bring my calf in from the wash rack now? Is it ready? But the fin's already up, we're pretending now. I gotta feed some hay, right? Okay, so we pretend there's some hay there now. I think you'll find some people like to really build up the front of the pack and have it really high up here. Why do some people do that? Any ideas? Cows can push it all back. I'm going to go with no on that. It's more of a, so cow spends 96, 97% of her time at the show. She's going to be in the pack, right? For the most part. Some people really like to build up the front ends because they think it shows the cows off a little more.
Makes it look like if we have professional pictures, so it's up like that.
Yeah, I like to have the pack a little more level myself. Some cows maybe look a lot better with their front ends jacked up, but not all of them. I like to have plenty of extra back here. Like, why would we want extra straw in the back? Go ahead. Yeah, so that's where it's going to come out of all day. So every time you bring your calf out of the pack, you should just take a minute. It takes 30 seconds to rework the pack like that. Freshen up her hay, put a little piece of hay down, you're bringing your calf back in, she's going right back on a nice pretty level pack. Did we talk about how long to make your pack? Did we do that yet? No, okay. So when you're bringing your boards, you got to plan ahead a little bit further. You can always adjust the depth of your pack. Just kind of quick rule of thumb, what I like to think is, when your calf's here, where are you going to feed her? Right here? So her nose is going to be here when she's eating, which means her front feet are going to be right about here. Then for your calves, her back feet are going to be right about here most of the time, right? Right here? Just stop it here? Go back here. Yeah. So you'd like to think to have about 3 or 4 feet behind them. You can't always have that much room. Sometimes with the cows you get a little crowded, but ideally you have about that 3 or 4 feet back there. Why do you want that room there? Yeah, there's that. It's so when people are coming through, you have room to get up out of the way. You have some extra dry straw back here to kind of work up during the day. Yeah. Well, and it's also, that's a really good point. When you keep the distance back, it keeps, not so much at your county fair or whatever, but at the bigger shows, it keeps people who don't know how to move around cattle or don't know how to be safe around from being able to reach your cattle from the aisle. So.
Also, if they're going to have like down an aisle, then they won't go back like near your cow.
Yep.
Kind of
Sure. Yep. So, and again, if you're using the boards, be careful when you're bringing your cattle in and out. So when they, move them in and out straight as you can. They'll get used to them once the board's there. Usually if their front feet click off them once, they know they're there and they won't step on them again if you let them move freely around them. Let's see. So we like our straw pack. Sometimes people just use shavings in a pack. Why do you think some people do that? Makes it more softer? I don't know about that. Well, what? For milking cows? No, maybe I'm not sure about that either. Maybe a little cleaner. Makes them stand out more? That's pretty creative, but more absorbent. So I think the main reason people started using just shavings in packs is because it's way easier than shaking straw. It's also way more expensive. Not necessarily. Maybe you can get a good deal. Maybe you live close enough to home that you can bring in bulk shavings or or maybe you're not too worried about it. Maybe you just can't find straw where you live. Those are all good reasons. Quite often early in the show season, you'll find that your heifers or your cows can get straw mites. Do you guys know what that is? Have you seen them? It's where they get swollen up on their nose, like wherever the halter touches, and back on their hocks and up their tails. So when their heads are swollen and their tails and legs are twice the size they're supposed to be, they don't look very dairy, do they? So sometimes when people know they've got some heifers that are going to show into the fall at Harrisburg or Madison or Louisville, you think, do I want her to get straw mites at the county fair this year? We don't want to chance it, so we'll bed with Shavings and kind of eliminate some of that risk. For the most part, I think if you have nice, good, clean straw, it's kind of the way to go. It's the most comfortable pack for the cattle. If we look over here where the sale cattle are, we just have sawdust and some shavings under them, right? Yeah. So it's not, it's comfortable enough for them, but for the big milk cows at a show, to lay on this is a little nicer. So with the shavings at the shows, you see, do you guys do fitting yet? No. Okay, you'll learn about this when you're over there if you don't know already, but we clip the udders pretty tight. So the straw is quite a bit nicer on their udders when they're laying down than the shavings are. It's not, I'm gonna say it's bad for them, it's gonna hurt them, but it's just a little more comfortable for them. So we said your cattle, this is where they're gonna live when they're at the show for the most part. You're gonna have them out for an hour clipping them and 15 minutes a day washing them and maybe a little bit leading them. How many of you guys, everybody showing a calf this year? Everybody? How many of you guys have a goal of selling your calf at the show this year? Right, nobody, right? Okay, I'll ask you all that same question in 5 years and I bet your answers change when you have cars to buy, college to pay for. When you're a kid that's my age and you go to a show and bring animals, it's mostly because you want to sell them. So when she's going to spend 95% of her time in this pack, she probably wants to look good while she's there, right? You want it to look nice. You want it to look professional. You want your animals to look good. Even if you don't want to sell them, it's still the right way to do it. You don't want to sell one this year. Say you don't want to sell your calf this year. Okay, what if when she's a cow 2-3 years from now, she has a calf and you're saving up to buy a car? Think maybe you'd want to sell her calf? Yeah. So it's a little thing like somebody's there and they say, oh, what's your calf? And you tell them who the mother is and they say, oh, hey, you know what? I remember her being at the show here a couple years ago. And they're not going to say, man, your pack looked really good. They might say that, but they're probably going to say, yeah, that calf, she looked good, she was well presented, and she was in a nice pack. So maintaining your pack, if you're only there a couple days, it's going to be pretty much in and out. I think most people these days are kind of in the habit of keeping a bucket or an old feed tub or something behind the cows to catch the urine and the manure. You're not going to catch it all. You're going to miss some. Kind of general rule of thumb when it's, you know, obviously if you can see wet straw and shavings there, you need to muck out. Everybody know what mucking out is? Yep. Yep. Is that everybody's favorite job or what? Yeah. It's easier than shaking straw though, isn't it? Yeah, I'd rather muck it out. So, yeah, essentially, if you know, it's more important with your milk cows. You guys know what mastitis is. You guys have probably all done some milking at this stage of your young farming careers. So, you know, in the morning or night when you're washing, whenever, if you get that much of the little dry stuff off and it's wet, get it out of there. If it stinks, you'll smell it probably before you see it. Or if you're kneeling down to milk your cows and you stand back up and your knees, your overalls are wet, get it out of there. So. Do you guys, just look here. Okay. Do you guys have any?
I've seen in some of the big shows, some of the guys put stuff in the bedding, like pine cones, stuff like that.
So mostly.
Not like a lot.
Yeah, so, I mean, quite often we'll just sprinkle some down the back of the pack. Like use your imagination that we have our pack edged up nice here, we have our boards, but it just keeps it smelling nice in general. Now, I mean, if you're using it to cover up the stank of your pack, you probably need to update your pack a little bit or get that mucked out for sure. But yeah, little nicer experience when people are walking through your aisle. But, anybody else? Did you guys all see this? These end boards are easy to make. This is one piece of plywood cut in 2 pieces. There's a 2x6 mounted to the bottom here to give it some stability. And a 2x4, you can use another 2x6 here if you want to the front. So you can usually screw that into something or drill holes in it and zip tie it up to wherever you want to be. These end boards save you a lot of work, a lot of bedding, and keep everything so much cleaner and nicer. If you have a heifer standing here and this is here, she's going to stand here. She might swing over a little bit, but if this isn't here, and this is where your clipping stall is and your clipper bag's there, or that's where your coolers are, she's going to be standing over here in that most of the time, making a big mess. So pretty somewhat cheap, efficient way to keep things organized and looking nice around your string. Board, a couple boards, and a can of wood stain. So anybody else have any more questions? No? Well, good. What's your guys' next, what's your next stop?
Nutrition.
Oh, nutrition, that's right. Okay. So everybody who asked or answered a question, raise your hand. This is a pretty good group. You guys did. Get your hands up where I can see them. No?
He has a door prize.
All right, put your hands down if you already have a door prize.
White Max.
We're gonna get down. Okay. How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick a number between 1 and 10. You in the back. Nope.
7.
Yep. Okay, we're down to, we have a medium shirt, an extra large shirt, and a beanie. Medium shirt. You want to bring a shirt home for your dad? There you go. Thanks. Well, thanks, guys. We're probably done a little bit early, but you got to go all the way to the other end. If you do have a minute, walk back through the sale cattle again. Some of those things you learned in selection, you guys just came from there, right? Yeah, while that stuff's fresh in your head, just walk through there and look at that bigger group of calves and think about some of those things that you learned out there while it's still fresh in your minds. Okay, thanks.